ITSM Global Podcast coming to you from SITS in London. I'm Kirsty McGowan, I'm here with Ivor McFarlane.
Hello.
And our guest today is Tijsmans from ITSM Belgium.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now tell me, I've seen a few things coming through the wire about what's happening with ITSM Belgium. You're sort of revitalising the chapter and changing things around. What's happening there?
Well, the former team last year decided to step down after many years of being in ITSMF. So we're an entirely new team with new ideas. Of course, we have our challenges because nobody actually has any relevant experience with an ITSMF, running an ITSMF chapter. So we're kind of finding out things along the way. We had a handover from the former team. Yeah. They gave us some ideas, but still we have to discover a lot ourselves.
So there's a pretty tough ask because they've been there for a long time and they've done some pretty good stuff in Belgium. I mean, I've been to a couple of conferences there and one of the tooling events. So it's always been a busy chapter. So it'll be interesting to see what you're going to change.
Presumably you're hoping to keep what's good. I always felt that the Belgium event was always the best one-day event across the whole ITSMF structure. Okay. That was always impressive. So it'll be interesting to see how you're going forward and whether you're going to keep some of the things that did work.
Well, that's what we're going to find out, I guess. Well, we're not going to do one this year because we are new at this, so we don't want to run before we can, walk. So we're aiming at doing a conference in Q2 2016, and actually we're thinking about maybe making it longer than one day, but we'll see because it is traditionally a one-day event, so it's breaking a tradition. Right.
Yeah, sometimes it's nice to be able to just get in there for one day and get some really good value and come back out again.
But on the other hand, when we see around the world lots of ITSMS being obliged to come down from 3 days to 2, it would be a nice statement of success to be able to go from 1 day to 2.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So how many members do you have in Belgium?
Well, around 260 at the moment, so it's gone down a bit, but I think that's logical. Being a new team, people are kind of waiting and seeing what's happening.
I mean, I think it's not just Belgium though. I mean, ITSMF chapters globally are struggling. There's so much more competition in this space than there was 10 years ago. I mean, if you were in service management 10 years ago, it was really the only place you could go for that membership and to talk to other practitioners. But there are a lot of options out there now, and the globalisation of the industry too means that you don't necessarily have to belong to a local group. You can get that comradeship and networking online as well.
You can, but I personally think Belgians are more traditional and they really stick to the local possibilities.
There's still no substitute for face-to-face. I was talking with Patrick Bolger yesterday, he was saying people still want a hand they can shake or a throat they can shake, depending on whether they're happy or not. But you see it.
Well, one of the things we're trying to change is to make the sessions a lot more interactive. So more workshop style, practical things you can take home, because those are the things we heard from members or ex-members, that a lot of the sessions were too theoretical and too many consultants as well. So that's another challenge. So we also would love to get more customers and users, so to speak, to bring cases like some of them are doing here at the conference. But it is difficult because Belgians are a bit held back, and so getting a non-consultant to speak for an audience is not easy. I think
that is difficult, certainly in New Zealand it is too, because your everyday practitioner doesn't think they have anything to offer and they don't want to push themselves forward.
Right.
And often a good combination is when you get a vendor who actually brings a customer along. And
that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get the vendors to bring customers along. But you need to work on that, right?
And we were certainly back way in the past when I was involved in ITSMF UK, we did try to get vendors along and boost their confidence and offer them services and support in presentation, but we weren't terribly successful in that. It is difficult, not just in their abilities, but in their time. And you have the language issues as well, of course, on top of all that. In a country with 2 languages, it's always difficult to get that sort of national figure.
It is. Well, actually, it's 3 officially.
I'm much more pragmatic than official than anything. And one of the joys to us, of course, of the old Belgian conference was that it was always in English.
Yes.
Is that going to be the case, or are you going for local languages much more?
That's an interesting question. I think the conference will definitely still be in English, although I don't know. But one of the things we are looking at is maybe doing some of the events throughout the year in Flemish or in French. And we've also kind of broken a tradition in doing one event 2 months ago in the French part of Belgium. So that is a first. But it's something you have to build on. And
I suppose you have the opportunity, if you're looking that way, to work with the Dutch and the French in collaboration. And I mean, it's interesting for some of our viewers outside Europe. Europe looks a very small place from the US perspective.
Yes.
But there are some internal rivalries.
Yes, and Belgium is a very small country, but it is very complicated, and a lot of people don't understand that. There really are 2 cultures in Belgium.
So do you see service management, rather not just the service management forum, but service management in Belgium? Is it a healthy state? Is there what's going on? Is there any differences there you see from service management professionals in the UK? Or?
In my experience or my feeling is that Belgium is a bit behind the UK, behind the Netherlands, which is most comparable. They speak the same language, but they do have a different culture. So I think we're a bit behind on service-minded thinking and process-oriented working. I've had this conversation with a Dutch guy a while back who has worked in many countries and is now working for a Belgian company, and he said, well, I've never seen an environment that's this immature. But the argument I was making is that in my experience there, this is maybe more the norm than the exception, unfortunately. On the other hand, that means there are still a lot of opportunities for improvement, right?
Problems always produce opportunities.
Yes, they do.
And so, I mean, that's probably a really good place for the forum to be then, is that you have those opportunities to really help people improve.
Well, but the challenge there is I've been talking to some CIOs as well, and they really do not see what IT service management is about. They don't see it as a strategic capability. They see it as still in the, let's say, V2 sense of an operational infrastructure-oriented thing. So that's a major challenge.
And I suppose Belgium has a lot of successful companies, but it doesn't have those mega big companies like the Dutch have got Shell and Philips. And with that global perspective, so that's probably not going to make your task easier.
Well, Belgium is a country of small and middle large companies mainly, so that means they're traditionally coming from a family environment, so where everyone knows everyone, so it's more of a, let's say, feeling kind of way of working together than processes and procedures. So yes, that's the difficulty in getting to a more structured way of working.
So will you be heading off to the CLC, the Chapter Leader Conference in Paris over the weekend for ITSM International? It sounds like they're going to have a good representation of Chapter C this year.
Well, I heard yesterday there's 43 chapters present, so that's pretty nice.
Wow. That's pretty
But it will be my first, obviously, so it's going to be interesting.
Well, it's a really good place to actually get ideas from other chapters, find out what's working in other places and what's not.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of my goals is, well, obviously getting to meet other chapter leaders, but as you say, to pick their brains and see how they are organizing stuff, what the challenges are that they are having and how they are tackling that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there is a lot of mistakes to learn from in ITSMF over the last 25 years, so there's an opportunity there. I made several of them, I believe, in my time.
Well, if there's something that I've learned in my career is that you have to make mistakes to be better. You know?
You can't learn if you don't make mistakes. If you've never made a mistake, you haven't tried hard enough.
Yeah. Exactly.
I know. I was involved in ITSMF for many years, and trust me, we've made lots of mistakes, so it's okay.
Well, I mean, people forgive mistakes.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Well, Christian, good luck with revitalising the chapter, and I'll look forward to hearing about your conference for next year, and maybe getting our podcast along there to chat to some people in Belgium.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Well, once we get the date for 2016, I shall put my submission in.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for your time this
morning.
Bye.
Thank you.